There is an explicit distinction made between LOONA 1/3's Love and Live and its repackaged Love and Evil. Love and Live is an album filled with a sense of youthful love. It expresses palpitating emotions within the boundaries of contemporary K-pop girl group music. A month later, their next album reverses Live to become Evil. Love and Evil, an inverse version of Love and Live, displays opposing emotions like pain and worry in the face of love. Is love something sweet, or is it something cruel? It may be a question too difficult for young girls to answer yet. This reversal concept stands well on its own for 1/3. Their story consists of being pulled from an everyday life into a world much bigger than them, starting with the sudden disappearance of a friend. The difference between Love and Live and Love and Evil shows the contrasting emotions of being afraid and sad in the face of a new trauma and challenge, losing Yodin, and the excitement and pride of starting a new journey, entering the Lunarverse. This symbolism could very well be self-contained, just to further express the complex emotions of the girls as they entered the Lunarverse. But let's examine the word choice used for these two albums. Youth, boundaries, evil, inverse, pain, worries. All of these words are also motifs of LOONA's final unit, yyy. The duality between Love and Live and Love and Evil comes from LOONA 1/3's experiences, but this metaphor could extend to both subunits, Love and Live representing LOONA 1/3 and Love and Evil representing yyy. The words love and evil together describe yy's journey of self-love, and how in doing so they reject God's will and cast themselves out of Eden as evil. As Love and Evil is the inverse of Love and Live, yyy is the inverse of LOONA 1/3. They are each other's direct opposites, but inevitably tied incredibly close together. They represent either side of a coin, either side of the Mobius. Even before any contact between the two groups, the girls mirror each other in their daily lives. Without knowing it, the two groups are intertwined before they even interact. Each yyy member's solo music video features a member of 1/3. Vivi roller skates with Eve in New. Hustle finds Chu in the snow in Heart Attack. Heejin greets Olivia Hay at the end of Egoist, and most indirectly, a cat irrelevant to anything else appears in One and Only, representing Hyunjin. Cherry also appears in One and Only, but I believe this is better applied to Hyunjin and Cherry's relationship, since Cherry is the one to make an actual appearance instead of Hyunjin. For the purposes of this video, we'll be focusing just on 1/3 and yy's relationship. I believe these members were paired together to show how both units come into the Lunarverse. I don't think each pairing's individual relationship with each other carries as much weight as showing that the units confronted each other in a reverse order. Each girl looked across the Mobius into her reflection and found a member of the other unit, the inverse place of herself. I think this metaphor better demonstrates that each unit's self-contained storyline is meant to mirror the other. Each individual member has to overcome their own obstacles to find LOONA, but the patterns between 1/3 and yyy as groups suggest a theme of being tied together. Both teams are arranged in a 3-1 structure. This concept was introduced for the debut of LOONA 1/3. It was advertised that the upcoming unit would be formed with 3 of the girls who had been revealed so far, Heejin, Hyunjin, Hassel, and Yodin, in addition to a new member. And this concept continued into their story. The majority of the music video for Love and Live was focused on othering Vivi and making it clear to the audience that she does not fit in with the rest of her group, despite her motivation to do so. In English, we say LOONA 1/3, but in Korean, they read fractions in the other direction, 3분의 1. This brings the separation between the group of 3 and the group of 1 to the forefront of your mind. By the time we work our way forward all the way to the last member of LOONA, we can see this structure used again in yy's story. Again, we get a music video focused around the forming of a group of 3 and a group of 1, and how the group of 1 can't seem to mesh with the others no matter what. Both units reflect more specifically than this as well. This structure creates a similar storyline between the two groups, and we can see the members of each unit who debuted in the same place take on similar roles. The first girl is the girl who first ventures out from the daily routine and takes the first steps into the Lunarverse. She's the one gathering new information and assembling the other girls from her unit together. She treads new ground to get closer and closer to Luna. The second girl is the person closest to the first girl. As the first girl confides her newfound information to her, she feels intimidated instead of empowered. She falls back and relies on the first girl for direction. The third girl is keen to the same information as the first two, but she can't decide what she wants to do with it. Instead of naturally falling into a role, she is taken suddenly and completely out of her comfort zone. She must contemplate how to advance forward in the best way for herself. The fourth girl is the member who is explicitly different from the others. There are clear differences between each girl, but the fourth girl is shown to have a completely different view of the situation than the other girls in her team. As the first three girls walk together towards Luna, she has to forge her own path adjacent to theirs. Despite being given the same roles within their teams, the girls of each unit enact them in opposite ways. Luna 1/3's concept of purity and innocence fits with their group of three, the first, second, and third girls, having passive roles in their story, while their group of one has an active role. Heejin is the first witness to the colors of the budding Lunarverse, but she doesn't do anything to cause it, she doesn't seek it out. The role of pioneer is placed on her. Hyunjin enters the Lunarverse simply by association with Heejin. They confide in each other while they are subject to this new information. Hustle has a lot of responsibility fall into her lap at once. Yajin goes missing, and her pursuit of finding her is what causes her to stumble into her first exposure to the Lunarverse, her mirrored self, without even trying. Vivi is the only one out of the four who is able to look at the situation objectively. She's motivated by the distress of the others in losing Yajin to take the active role of crossing the Mobius to look for her. This is the opposite of YY by Y, where the group of three is active and the odd one out is passive. Eve explores a possibility outside of Eden very intentionally. Chu takes little convincing to follow after her, chasing after Eve in a new, more fulfilling life. Godwon is afraid to leave at first due to her dependence on the others, but learns to love and trust herself so she doesn't need to cling on to the familiarity of Eden. While these three pass information along to each other and go through their own decision-making processes, Olivia is left out. She isn't even offered the choice to go along with them. She minds her business until she sees them running away without her. In a way, they force her hand to bring the apple to her lips. If it weren't for their actions, she would never have bitten the apple. She passively follows the group to Earth, where her defining emotional journey comes from forgiveness later. Each unit also has a theme in their solo music videos that one member breaks. Vivid, Around You, and Every Day I Love You all have bright and innocent themes, while Let Me In breaks this with a cold and intense theme. New, One and Only, and Egoist all have darker, edgy themes, while Heart Attack is colorful and theatrical. I think this is less a statement about the roles of the girls in each unit, and more so about how each unit had a girl who felt opposite to the others over the course of their story. Each girl's solo music video is a look through her own eyes into what is happening. While each member of 1/3 feels lighthearted or excited about the situation that's portrayed, Hustle feels lost and scared because she's the one who is affected most by Yajin's absence. This is in contrast to YY by Y. Eve fully commits to the rebellion from Eden and New, unafraid of how this may paint her as evil by the standards she's used to. Godwon feels scared and pressured in One and Only, when the people she relies on for security suddenly want to leave Eden. Olivia Hae goes through a journey of rejection and anger in Egoist. Chu is facing the same situation of leaving Eden as the other three, but she views it in a more thrilling way, with her main motivation being her infatuation with Eve. This creates a stark contrast between her and the rest of YY by Y, similar to the contrast between Hustle and the rest of 1/3. These themes aren't only communicated through the girls' actions, but they are portrayed visually as well. There are symbols interspersed between the two units' music videos that are similar but don't seem to be referencing the same event or trying to apply the same message. These visual cues serve to further tie the two units together. It implies they are so closely related, their independent actions even bleed into each other. It shows the influence of the Looniverse that reaches the girls before they're even aware they're in it. I don't think this information can be applied to substitute one girl for another. I don't think when we see Olivia, it's possible she is actually representing Vivi, for example. Instead, I believe their relationship can be visualized as a scale, with odd eye circle as the fulcrum, or the medium between them. As one side goes up, the other goes down. This relationship is something to keep in mind when analyzing both past and future content, especially since the teaser for New Moon makes this comparison as well. Are there gaps in knowledge that can be filled in by looking to the opposing unit? Could the relationship itself be the reason a certain character is motivated in a certain way? Will these roles continue into the future now that the loop has been broken? Is love something sweet, or is it something cruel?